Hi guys, this is Joy and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're talking about Thiên Mụ Pagoda, and I'm gonna give you a short history of this temple. Thiên Mụ Temple or Thiên Mụ Pagoda, meaning Temple of the Celestial Lady, also called Phước Duyên Temple. It's a historic temple in the city of Hue in Vietnam. Built in 1601 on the order of the first Nguyen lords, Nguyen Huang, who at that time was the governor of Tuan Hua, now known as Hue. The Nguyen lords were in name officials of the ruling Ly dynasty in Hanoi, but was the de facto independent ruler of central Vietnam. According to the royal annals, Hoang, while touring the vicinity, was told of the local legend in which an old lady known as Thiên Mụ, literally called Celestial Lady, dressed in red and blue, sat at the side, rubbing her cheeks. She foretold that a lord would come and erect a pagoda on the hill to pray for the country's prosperity. She then vanished after making her prophecy. Upon hearing this, Hoang ordered the construction of the temple at the site, thus the beginning of Thiên Mụ II. In 1695, the Zen master Shi Da-shan, a member of Caodong school, arrived from China. He had been invited to come to Hue as a guest of the Nguyen lords to start a Buddhist congregation and oversee its development. He was a noted Buddhist scholar of the Sing dynasty and was patronized by the ruling lord Nguyen Phuc Chu and was appointed as the abbot of the pagoda. In the 7th month of 1696, he returned to China, but conferred bodhisattva vows on Chu. In 1710, Chu funded the casting of a giant bell which weighs 3,285 kg and was regarded as one of the most prized cultural relics of its time in Vietnam. The bell is said to be audible 10 kilometers away and has been the subject of many poems and songs, including one of the Emperor Thieu III of the Nguyen dynasty, who ruled in the 1840s. In 1714, Chu oversaw another series of major expansions and construction projects, the largest expansion phase in the pagoda's history. The main set of triple gates were erected, in addition to different shrines to the heavenly realms, the Ngok Huang, the Thap Dien Diem Buong, halls for preaching Dharma, towers for storing sutras, bell towers, drum towers, meditation halls, and halls to venerate Avalokiteshvara and the medicine Buddha, and living quarters for the Sangha. Chu also organized for the staging of the Vasana retreat, which occurs annually between the full moon of the 4th and the 7th lunar month. The tradition had been inaugurated in the time of Gautama Buddha in ancient India to coincide in the rainy season. During this time, monks would stay in one place and pursue their spiritual activities rather than wandering around and expounding the Dharma to the populace, since they were prone to step on living beings during this time due to the water covering their paths. He also organized an expedition to China to bring back copies of the Tripitaka, Canon, and the Mahayana Sutras, which comprise more than 1,000 volumes, and interred them in the pagoda. During the 19th century, the temple was patronized by the emperors of the Nguyen dynasty, which was founded in 1802. by Emperor Gia long after his unification of modern Vietnam. His successor Minh Mang funded further expansion and renovation of the temple. Emperor Thieu III, who succeeded Minh Mang, erected the Tu Nan Pagoda in 1844, which is now as the Phuoc Thien Pagoda. The brick pagoda stands 21 meters and is of octagonal shape and has 7 stories, each of which is dedicated to a different Buddha. The pagoda has stood there since overlooking the Perfume River and has become synonymous with the landscape of Hue and the Perfume River. Its impact is such that it has become the unofficial symbol of the city. The temple also contains a statue of a large marble turtle, a symbol of longevity. Beside the tower on either side are structures that record the architectural history of the tower as well as various poems composed by Thien III. The temple and its buildings were severely damaged in a cyclone in 1904. Emperor Thanh Thai authorized reconstructions in 1907, and it has continued to the current day, although it was still substantially less grand and expansive as its halcyon days of the Nguyen dynasty before the storm. Today, a tourist facility is also present among the gardens and grounds of the temple, and a stupa has been erected in honor of Hua Thuong Thich Don Hao, the abbot of the temple during its reconstruction phase in the 20th century. His holy body is entombed in the stupa, which is a garden of pine trees. During the summer of 1963, Thiên Mụ Temple, like many in South Vietnam, became a hotbed of anti-government protest. South Vietnam's Buddhist majority had long been discontented with the rule of President Ngo Dinh Diem since his rise to power in 1955. In the early 1980s, a person was murdered near the pagoda and the site became the focal point of anti-communist protests, closing traffic around the Phu Xuan Bridge. The communist government responded by arresting monks on the charge of disturbing traffic law and public order. The temple also houses the Austin motor vehicle in which Thich Quang Duc was driven to his self-immolation in Saigon in 1963 against the Diem regime. It was the first of a series of self-immolations by members of the Buddhist clergy, which brought the pride of the Buddhists to the attention of the international community. Thank you guys for always watching my video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.